Hey guys, today I'm going to be testing out brand new makeup and I am so excited about literally every single product that I'm going to talk about today, so it's going to be a really exciting video. But before we jump in, just quickly, if you're new here, hi, my name is Jen and I do makeup reviews here on this channel. I sometimes talk about skincare, but everything is completely unsponsored. I'm never paid to talk about makeup, so you'll always know that you get my brutally honest opinions. You might not always agree with them, but that's another story. I do accept PR here on my channel, but I always try to approach my reviews as if I spent my own money on everything. So if that sounds good to you, be sure to hit the subscribe button and let's go ahead and jump right in and get started. All right, guys, let's go ahead and start with sunscreen. So I have this one from Hero, and this is the Force Shield Super Beam Sunscreen. It's broad spectrum SPF 30. It's actually a fully mineral formula. It has zinc oxide at 17.5%, and it claims to be a super smooth mineral SPF that doesn't clog pores, that has light diffusing pearl and apricot pigments. It's supposed to leave your skin glowy and not greasy, and it's supposed to be great for acne prone skin. So I do have dry skin. You might be wondering why I picked a formula like this, and that's just because I loved how it sounded really lightweight. I love using mineral sunscreens, but there have been a few that I've tried recently, the most recent one being the Eucerin SPF, and that one left my skin feeling just so heavy and greasy, and in the heat and humidity of the summertime, it just made all my makeup slide off, and I felt like it just affected the longevity. So I was looking for something that was a little bit thinner, and I have seen a couple of different people on YouTube and on social media talking about this one and how lightweight it is. So that's what I've been hoping for with this one. I've been super excited to try it out. It does have the peachy tint, so it's supposed to not leave a white cast behind on your skin. So let's go ahead and see what this is all about. Oh wow, yeah, this is so lightweight. It has a really silky feel. Actually, if I didn't know any better, I would think that this was a chemical sunscreen. It does not feel like any mineral sunscreen I have ever felt. Usually they're either very thick and kind of greasy, or they have more of like a moussey texture, almost like a primer. Those are the ones I think I prefer. There's an Australian Gold mineral SPF, which is getting harder and harder to find, but I used to grab that one at the drugstore. Also, the brand Coats makes a mineral sunscreen that has that primer type feel, and I do really like those because they dry down more to like a powdery finish. But this one actually feels really hydrating without being super thick or sticky, which is awesome. This is really just like the perfect middle ground. I also really like the peachy tint because it prevents it from looking completely white, but also it doesn't have like some of the mineral sunscreens that are tinted are a little bit too dark for my skin tone. This one is perfect. It is supposed to work for all skin tones though. So even if you're a lot deeper than me, this is still supposed to not leave a white cast. So hopefully that's true. If you have a deeper skin tone and you've tried this, I'd love to hear how it worked for you as well. But yeah, it does leave a really nice glow behind. My skin is definitely looking very dewy and glowy. The finish really reminds me of the new e.l.f. Sun Touchable Whoa Glow SPF, except this one actually has a blend of chemical sunscreens. So if you're allergic to any of those, or if they just don't agree with your skin and you prefer a mineral formula, this basically does the same thing. It's like a really nice glowy primer, and the texture is just as lightweight as the e.l.f. one or the Supergoop one. If you've tried that, it feels really, really similar. I would say this is one of the nicest feeling mineral sunscreens I've ever tried, so it's definitely worth picking it up. I got it at Ulta, but just keep in mind if you go to try to find this in store, it's not with all the SPFs. I found it in the drugstore skincare aisle, so it wasn't easy to find, and even the employees had no idea where it was when I asked them, so I kind of had to scout around for it myself. Just look in the drugstore skincare section because it's with all of those little like acne patches, because I believe this company makes those as well. They also sell this at some CVS stores, so you could always check your local store. All right, so when it comes to foundation, I don't have a new one to try, so I'm just gonna use my Believe Beauty foundation. This is like one of my all-time favorite formulas. It's $5, and it has such a beautiful texture. It reminds me a lot of the House Labs foundation from Sephora. It has a really nice skin-like satiny finish. It's not too glowy, but it's not flat matte, and it has a really nice medium coverage, so it's not going to be too heavy on the skin. The SPF kind of shows through this just a little bit. My skin still retains some of that glow. It's not quite as much as just the SPF on its own, but it does peek through the foundation a little, which is really nice. It kind of just adds that little bit of glowiness back to my dry skin. But the best part is those pearl pigments that are in the SPF are not glittery. They're not like a sparkle, and this foundation is going on beautifully on top of this. I'm not noticing any pilling. I really think this SPF makes such an amazing primer. I actually like it better than the e.l.f. one because it's all minerals. So I'm really happy that it's playing nicely with foundation. All right, so I think I'm just gonna let my face kind of set down for a few minutes before we add bronzer and blush. So let's skip over to eyes really quick. So I have some new eyeshadows from Moira. These are not a new formula, but they're just new shades of their Diamond Days. And they're one of my favorite liquid eyeshadows because they go on super smooth. They're not patchy at all. And once they set down, they're good for the entire day with no creasing. I love that they have new additions to their color range. All of these shades just look so beautiful. I have no idea even which one I'm gonna pick. It's so tough to decide, but I'm kind of leaning toward this shade Chill, which is a really beautiful rosy metallic. I'm wearing a pink top, so I feel like it might complement it really well. But first I'm just gonna go ahead and put down some powder shadow in my crease, and then I'm just gonna top it with the Moira one. So I'm gonna use my Doll Squad 2.0 palette from Doll 10, and I'm just gonna pick up this light tan shade here first. I know I talk about this palette a lot, but it is literally my favorite neutral palette right now in my collection. And Doll 10, you know, they haven't always had the best eyeshadow formula. In the past, it really wasn't my favorite and nothing to write home about. I felt like the matte shades used to be really sheer. Now they feel so velvety. They remind me a lot of Sydney Grace eyeshadows, and those are some of my all-time favorites. This is also a talc-free formula if you're looking for something without talc. And the shimmer shades in this palette are just like beyond creamy and buttery. They're not like those crumbly glitters that fall all over the place. It's just such a stellar formula, and I've heard that from a lot of you guys who have decided to try this palette out. So many of you really love it. So next I'm just gonna take this shade, this deep brown right here, and I'm just gonna focus that kind of more toward the outer corner of my eye. So I'll make sure to link this palette down below. And I also have a 15% off coupon code with Doll 10 as well. So I'll leave that there too. All right, so now that I just have a neutral base in my crease and outer corner, I'm gonna go ahead and apply the shade Chill to my lid. Okay, so yeah, look at how this goes on. It is so smooth. There's no patchiness. And I just like to kind of apply them with the applicator. And then I like to blend just along the top edge. I'll just take my pinky finger and blend out that edge along the top. And I leave the rest alone and just kind of let it settle down and dry. And it's perfect. Just gonna kind of blend it out just to the inner corner a little bit, but I'm focusing most of it just on the middle of my lid. Yeah, this just goes on so flawlessly, and once it dries down, it doesn't budge, it doesn't crease. It's one of the most long-lasting formulas, and they're so affordable. I don't normally love wearing pink on my eyes, but this is the kind of pink that it's just so flattering. I don't feel like it's the kind of pink that makes me look like I'm ill. It's just, it has a little bit of like almost a purple shift to it, so it gives it this mauve-y kind of look. It is gorgeous. I'm so glad that I went with this color. This one, it was just kind of out there for me, but I decided, you know what, let me try it, and I love it. So let's move on to mascara because I have a new mascara that I am just so excited to try. I also got this at Ulta, and this is from KVD Beauty. It's the full sleeve, long and defined tubing mascara. So this claims to fully wrap your lashes in all day ink black pigment. And because it's a tubing formula, it's not going to smudge under your eyes and give you the raccoon look. It's also going to be super, super easy to remove at night. I think the brush is kind of interesting. It's kind of a club style wand. It's a little bit wider at the end, and it also has these short spiky bristles. So I'm really excited to see if this one's going to rival the Thrive liquid lash extensions, because that's one of my favorites. It just gives me the biggest lashes. But as far as this formula goes, it doesn't feel overly wet or dry. It's kind of somewhere in between. It's really easy to comb out clumps with the brush. And wow, this is giving me so much length and volume right now. Like, I would say this is kind of on par with the Thrive as far as how it makes my lashes look, possibly even better. And this one is so much easier to get a hold of because you don't have to order it. Thrive isn't available in any stores. So, and I just feel like it made my lashes look really fluffy, which I love. They don't look heavy. They don't look clumpy. My one criticism about this is that the brush is a little bit bigger, and especially being bigger on the front, I find it a little difficult to get into these little baby lashes in the corner here because I feel like I'm gonna just hit my eyelid and then I'm gonna leave a black mark and ruin my eye makeup. So I feel like I have to be really, really careful with this wand. Guys, here's both eyes done. I'm really impressed with this one. I absolutely love the way my lashes are looking right now. Of course, I'm gonna have to try it over time and see what happens as it dries out, but usually mascaras get better and better. And the fact that I love this on the first use is something that almost never happens. So I'm even more excited about it now. I think it just did such a great job. So I'd love to hear from you guys if you tried this one out already. I think it is going to be a really good one. Also, speaking of KVD, this is not a new product and I just have been wanting to try it out. I haven't tried it on my face yet. This is the ModCon Liquid Gel Contour and I got it in the shade Fair Cool. So this is supposed to be a transfer resistant long wear formula with lifelike dimension that won't move your foundation as you apply it. And when I first swatched this on my hand, I noticed that it really wasn't as cool toned as I was expecting for a contour. And this one to me looked more like a bronzer color. So that's really how I'm gonna be using this today because I don't feel like it's the best contour. So I'm just gonna apply this one with a sponge and just kind of go all over and warm up my complexion with it. It's so thin and lightweight that you almost don't even see the product on your skin. You just see the little bit of color that it leaves behind. This is so beautiful. It has a little bit of like a satiny finish, but again, it's not glitter, it's not shimmer. It's just the tiniest little bit of glow, which I really like. And this is like, it's one of the most natural bronzers ever. So yeah, I'm really impressed with this. It doesn't look muddy like some powder bronzers can. And I think especially if you're wearing a foundation or something that's a little bit dewier and you're not gonna add powder on top and you just wanna really keep that dewy look, this is the perfect product to do that. It just gives that little tiny bit of radiance and it just warmed up my skin without looking like too bronze or too warm. It's really just like the perfect color. So definitely check this one out. This is really nice. All right, moving on, I have a new product from Moira. These are their new liquid blushes that I am just so excited to try. They're called the Love Steady Liquid Blush. They come in 12 shades. There are two different finishes. They have a radiant finish and a matte finish. So let's take a look at the radiant ones first. So these claim to have a dewy finish, a weightless formula. They're 100% vegan and they give your cheeks a natural flushed look. I think the colors they come in are absolutely gorgeous. The formula just feels really moisturizing and I'm hoping that that doesn't mean that these feel sticky on your cheeks. Hopefully these do dry down somewhat, but I think I'm going to try one of the radiant ones today so we can see for sure. And then there are also some matte finish blushes. So there were 7 shades of the radiant, 5 in the matte. And the matte blushes claim to be 100% vegan and they give your cheeks more of a soft focus effect. So these, in comparison to the radiant ones, feel a little bit more moussey and they definitely do dry down all the way. They don't come in quite as many like fun colors as the radiant ones. I feel like these are just a little bit more on the neutral side. So I'm very, very excited just about all of these. I do really want to try out the hot pink and purple, but I feel like I've been using colors like that a lot lately in different looks. And I think this color, it's just like a rosy shade. So I think it'll go a lot better with what I have going on. So this is the Profusion Round Tapered Brush. I love this brush for applying cream products. Oh yeah, I definitely shouldn't have put any more than that. This is remind me of the new Juvia's Place liquid blushes because those also, all you need is like the tiniest little dot and they go a really long way. So I'm really glad I didn't overdo it because I think more than one dot would have been way too much. But this is actually sinking into the skin pretty well. And I think it'll definitely sink in a lot more though. I'm just gonna go over it quickly with a sponge just to blend it in even further. I really, really like that a lot. I'm just gonna do the other cheek. Yeah, definitely be careful with these because it would be so easy to go overboard. I really love the natural flush of color that these give, and I think they would definitely be a great alternative to either the Juvia's Place blushes or the Rare Beauty ones. For me, they apply pretty much exactly the same way. This huge PR package from Lawless Beauty, and they sent over their brand new Forget the Filler Lip Plumping Cream lipstick. So they come in 12 different shades, and these have Maxi Lip in the formula, and they use this ingredient in all of their Forget the Filler lip products. They have an overnight lip mask that I use pretty often. So these are a satin cream lipstick, and I feel like we don't often hear about lipsticks that have the plumping ingredients in them. So also have new shades of their Forget the Filler lip liners as well. So I can't wait to try these out. I just want to quickly show you all some swatches first so that you can see what all the colors look like. I felt like they were really pigmented. I only had to do one swipe of each, and they just laid down a ton of color in one swipe, which I thought was really great. And these shades are absolutely beautiful. There are so many really wearable neutrals. And then the lip liners are the style of lip liner that you have to sharpen. They're not the twist up. And I actually prefer the ones that you have to sharpen, because even though it's kind of a pain to have to sharpen them all the time, I think you can get more of a crisp line if you do that. I don't feel like they're overly creamy to where they're going to move around a lot. I think it's important for a lip liner to be just a little bit firm so that it keeps your lipstick from bleeding. I want to go ahead and try one of the lip liners first, and I'm going to be using the shade Pink Sand. I think this will probably go the best with what I'm wearing. I'm just gonna go ahead and like fill in my lips just a little bit. I don't really know about the plumping aspects with the lip liner, but... And then for the lipstick, I want to use the shade Soft Truffle. And it matches really well with this lip liner too. It's almost a perfect match. Yeah, wow. This color, you guys. It's so pretty. It's a Your Lips But Better shade, but it is just the perfect rosy shade, but I think it has a little hint of like a cool undertone as well. It's not so cool that it looks purple. This shade still has that rosiness to it, but it also isn't a super warm pink either. I love it. I think it was the perfect color to go with this look. So just a quick note, it does feel a little bit, I don't even want to say tingly, almost like you applied a minty lip gloss, except it doesn't have any scent to it whatsoever. And I am feeling that just slightly with this lipstick. It's not as much as I notice it with their lip glosses. It's a little bit more subtle, but it's definitely there, and that is just the Maxi Lip working. So I don't mind it at all. I would say if I had to give one like criticism, I was expecting them to be just a little bit creamier, and when I was putting it on, it felt just a little bit on the drier side. I am wearing a lip balm underneath, which I was wearing just throughout the video, so I think that helps, but this formula, if I were just to put it on dry lips, I think it would feel just a little bit dry. But other than that, I love the color. I love how pigmented it is. I think it's gonna stay really nicely on my lips. So anyway, guys, let's just quickly recap all of the products I tried, and I'll just give you my quick initial thoughts. So the sunscreen first. One of the best mineral sunscreens I think I've ever tried, if not the best. Thin and silky and lightweight, and I love the glow that it gives. So highly recommend checking this one out. The Diamond Days liquid shadows, the fact that they came out with new colors is just really exciting if you want to add to your collection. If you love these too, just wanted to let you know that those are out there. I'm also very impressed with the KVD mascara. Not super crazy about how big the brush is on the end. That's just one little tiny thing. I think I do prefer the Thrive Cosmetics brush a little bit more because that one gets smaller as you get to the end of the brush, and it's just easier to catch those little hairs. But I think it gave me that false lash look that I'm always looking for. Also, the KVD liquid bronzer, beautiful. The really thin serum-like texture just looks so natural. If you have issues with your bronzers getting muddy, or if you don't like to use powders on top of like a really dewy finish foundation. I'm also really happy with the Moira blushes so far. I think they come in the most beautiful colors. They're gonna last you forever because you only need the tiniest little dot, and I think they're a great alternative to some of the more expensive brands like Juvia's Place and Rare Beauty. Just be careful not to use too much. And then as far as the Lawless lip lip products go, I think they're really nice. The liner was creamy without being overly creamy, and the lipstick is really nice as well. This color Soft Truffle is one of my favorite colors that I've tried in a really long time. The only downside to these is that they're a little bit dry, so I would recommend wearing a lip balm underneath and just prepping your lips well beforehand. Everything. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. And if you have some extra time and you'd like to binge some more of my videos, I'll go ahead and just put a playlist right up here and you can check those out next. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day. I'll see you all in my next video. Take care, guys. Bye.